They built a stage specifically designed for your surrender, chosen one. They arranged the lighting. They called the audience. And they sat on their self-appointed thrones, waiting for the moment your knees would hit the floor. They wanted you begging. They fantasized about the sound of your voice breaking, the sight of your pride shattering, and the absolute validation of their ego as you crawled to them for mercy, for a crumb of their validation, for a drop of their help. In their twisted, hollow minds, your desperation was the only currency that could make them feel rich. They believed that by starving you of support, by locking the doors and hoarding the keys, they could force you into submission. They wanted to look down from their artificial heights and watch the light drain from your eyes, just so they could convince themselves that they were finally above you. But the universe does not allow its chosen to be the footstool for the wicked. Instead of giving them the performance they demanded, you gave them something that haunts them to this very second. You gave them your back. You gave them your silence. You walked away into the desert, bleeding but unbroken, and in doing so, you triggered a cosmic reversal so severe, so merciless, that the very people who wanted you begging are now choking on the dust of their own collapse, pleading for a mercy you no longer owe them. To understand the absolute magnitude of what is happening right now, you have to look at the sickness that infected their spirit. Why did they want you to beg? Because your natural grace has always been a mirror to their internal ugliness. You walked with an inherent dignity that they could not buy, borrow, or steal. You did not have to perform to be loved. You did not have to manipulate to be respected. You simply existed, and your existence threatened the fragile, paper-thin empire they had built out of lies and intimidation. They realized early on that they could never match your frequency. They could never naturally command the room the way you do. So, their only option was to try and break your legs so they could feel taller. They engineered situations to isolate you. They whispered behind your back to cut off your resources. They set traps designed to make you fail, hoping that when you hit rock bottom, you would have no choice but to look up at them and ask for salvation. They wanted to be your savior, but only so they could play your master. They wanted to hold your survival over your head like a weapon, dangling relief just out of reach, intoxicated by the power of watching you struggle. But they severely underestimated the spiritual stamina of a chosen one. They did not factor in what you are made of. When the trap snapped shut, when the isolation set in, when the hunger for justice and peace gnawed at your spirit, you did not fold. You did not panic. You did not run to their doorstep with tears in your eyes. You sat in the dark and you learned how to see. You took the pain they inflicted, and you used it as fuel to rebuild your foundation. While they were sitting in their comfortable little circles, waiting for the news of your absolute destruction, you were quietly, violently transforming. You learned to survive without their validation. You learned to breathe without their permission. You found an inner well of strength that never runs dry, a divine source of power that operates completely outside of their jurisdiction. They expected your silence to be the silence of the defeated. They thought you were hiding out of shame. They didn't realize you were in a cocoon. They didn't realize that while they were polishing their fake crowns, you were growing wings. And then, the frequency of the universe shifted. The scales, which had been tipped by their deceit and malice, suddenly slammed back into balance. The natural law of karma, which they arrogant believed they could outsmart, came to collect its debt. You see, when someone actively attempts to destroy a soul protected by the divine, The universe does not just defend that soul. It reroutes every blessing meant for the attacker straight into the hands of the victim. The grace that was keeping their life intact was removed. The unearned favor they paraded around as their own brilliance suddenly evaporated. And the spotlight they used to blind you suddenly turned into an interrogation lamp, exposing every crack, every lie, and every rotting pillar of their life. Suddenly, the people they manipulated started waking up. The resources they hoarded started slipping through their fingers like dry sand. The doors that were always open to them slammed shut, locked from the inside. Now look at the reality they are suffocating in. The tables haven't just turned, they have been flipped, splintered, and burned to ash. The empire they thought they ruled is crumbling around them, and they have absolutely nowhere to run. They are looking at their empty hands, wondering where their power went, wondering why the spells they cast against you have rebounded with 10 times the force. They are experiencing the exact desperation they tried to manufacture for you. The panic is setting in. They are losing their grip on their status, their reputation, and their sanity. And the most agonizing, soul-crushing part of their punishment is that they have to watch you rise while they sink. They have to watch you step into a season of unimaginable abundance, glowing with peace, surrounded by genuine love, completely untouched by their malice. They have to watch you become untouchable. This is the poetic justice of the universe unfolding in real time. They wanted to see you begging, but your refusal to break broke them instead. And now, the spiritual famine has reached their doorstep. They are starving for the peace you carry. They are parched for the grace you wear so effortlessly. They are realizing, in the cold, unforgiving light of their own ruin, that you were the one holding the fabric of their success together. You were the blessing they took for granted. You were the light they tried to extinguish, not realizing they were living in your glow. Without you, they are nothing but shadows. And shadows cannot survive in the daylight. Now they are the ones looking for a savior. They are the ones hoping someone will throw them a lifeline. They are the ones staring at your closed door, praying you will open it just a crack, praying you will look at them with an ounce of the mercy they entirely denied you. Do not look away from this moment, chosen one, because this is your vindication written across the sky. The tears they wanted you to cry are now drowning them in their own private hell. The apologies they demanded from you are now the very words stuck in their throats, choking them, because their pride still won't let them confess what they did. But the universe does not need their confession, it only needs their consequence. And the consequence is absolute. They are pleading for mercy in the silent chambers of their own minds, begging whatever God they believe in to stop the bleeding, to stop the collapse, to stop the relentless reflection of their own failure. They wanted to make a giant feel small, but instead they stood at the foot of a mountain and ordered it to bow. The mountain did not move, but the avalanche has finally come for them. Before we transition to the next phase of this revelation, understand this truth deeply near us. You did not have to lift a single finger to bring this upon them. You did not have to seek revenge. You did not have to match their toxic energy or fight them in the mud. Your only job was to heal, to elevate, and to protect your light. The universe handled the audit. The universe sent the invoice. And the universe is extracting the payment with a ruthless, perfect precision. They are paying for every lie, every smirk, every door they closed in your face. The beggar's cup they carved for you is now in their hands, and they are holding it out to a world that suddenly has nothing to give them. To truly comprehend the absolute magnitude of the shift that has occurred, you must look closely at the architecture of their current panic. It did not happen all at once, with a dramatic explosion or a sudden loud confrontation. No, the collapse of their reality happened in the terrifying, deafening quiet of their own isolation. When they first realized that their attempts to break you had failed, they tried to laugh it off. They huddled in their little circles of shared toxicity, exchanging smug smiles and whispering their fabricated narratives, convincing themselves that you were simply retreating in defeat. They told themselves that you were hiding, licking your wounds, and preparing your inevitable apology. They kept their phones close, waiting for the notification that you had finally caved, waiting for the email, the text, or the phone call where you would swallow your pride and beg for their intervention. But days turned into weeks, and weeks bled into months, and the silence you offered them became a suffocating void. It was in that profound, unyielding silence that the seeds of their terror began to take root. They started to realize that you were not punishing them with the silent treatment. You had simply ceased to perceive them. You had completely detached your energy from their existence. And for someone whose entire self-worth is built on their ability to control and manipulate others, being completely ignored is a fate worse than death. It was the moment they understood that the game they thought they were rigging had been cancelled altogether, and they were the only ones left standing on an empty stage, wearing foolish masks for an audience that had long since walked away. That realization triggered a psychological decay that is currently eating them alive from the inside out. You must understand, Chosen One, that their power was never intrinsic. It was entirely parasitic. They survived by siphoning the light, the grace, and the vitality of the people they kept beneath them. You were their premium source of energetic supply. Your struggles gave them a false sense of superiority. Your resilience gave them a target to test their influence against. When you permanently severed that connection, you did not just remove your presence, you cut off their life support. Now they are spiritually starving. They wake up every single morning with a heavy, unnameable dread sitting on their chests. The confidence they used to project so easily now requires a monumental, exhausting effort to maintain. Every smile they force in public feels like heavy lifting. Every boast they make rings hollow, echoing off the walls of their own insecurity. They are performing for a world that is rapidly losing interest in their act. And the sheer exhaustion of pretending to be okay is grinding their spirit into dust. They are trapped in a prison of their own design, terrified that if they drop the mask for even a second, everyone around them will see the rotting foundation of their actual reality. They wanted you to be the one losing sleep, agonizing over their rejection. But the universe has ensured that their own pillows are soaked with the cold sweat of their impending irrelevance. What makes their current agony so exquisitely painful is the fact that the very people they used to recruit against you are now the ones quietly backing away from them. The tables of their social dynamics have turned with a vicious precision. When they were at the height of their arrogance, they collected allies through a shared hatred or a shared fear, weaving a web of gossip to keep everyone aligned with their false narrative. They thought these alliances were loyalties. They thought they had built an impenetrable fortress. But alliances built on the manipulation of others are inherently fragile. And as the universe began to strip away their unearned blessings, the illusion of their power vanished. The people around them, The very ones who used to nod along to their lies, they are not blind. They are beginning to notice the frantic energy, the inconsistencies in the stories, the desperate need for validation, and the bitter, envious tone that leaks out every time your name is brought up. The room, which once felt so warm and validating to them, is now growing noticeably cold. Friends are becoming busy. Calls are going to voicemail. The invitations are drying up. The reverse gossip effect is in full swing. People are no longer whispering about your supposed downfall. They are quietly observing the spectacular, slow-motion train wreck of the person who tried to orchestrate it. The enemy is realizing with a sickening drop in their stomach that their circle was never loyal to them. They were only loyal to the power they thought they possessed. And now that the power is gone, they are standing completely alone, surrounded by the ghosts of their own betrayals. This isolation is forcing them into a state of profound self-confrontation that they have spent their entire lives running from. For years they used the flaws, the mistakes, and the struggles of others, especially yours, as a mirror to make themselves look taller. Whenever they felt the gnawing emptiness of their own lack of purpose, they would point a finger at you, highlighting a fabricated flaw just to momentarily distract themselves from their own internal wasteland. But without you there to absorb their projections, without you there to play the role of the broken one, the mirror has turned back on them. And the reflection is entirely unforgiving. They are forced to sit in the quiet corners of their empty lives and look at the truth. They are not the victims, they are not the heroes, and they are certainly not the masters of anyone's destiny. They are profoundly empty individuals who gambled their integrity for a fleeting sense of dominance and lost everything in the process. The universe has stripped them of all their distractions, leaving them with nothing but the deafening echo of their own terrible choices. They can clearly see the direct line between the cruelty they showed you and the absolute barrenness of their current reality. It is a level of psychological torture that no human hand could ever inflict, perfectly designed and executed by the divine laws of cause and effect. In their desperation, they are frantically trying to right the sinking ship, but every move they make only accelerates their descent. They are attempting to recreate the dynamics of the past, searching for new targets to belittle, new people to manipulate, hoping to capture that old high of unearned superiority. But the energetic signature of their desperation is too loud. People can smell the panic on them. The charm that used to work so flawlessly now feels rehearsed and aggressive. The authority they try to project comes off as pathetic and grasping. They are flailing in the water, reaching for anything that floats. But the universe has declared a season of isolation for them. And nothing they touch will turn to gold. Every new venture they start hits a brick wall. Every relationship they try to build on a foundation of pretense crumbles before it can even bear weight. They are experiencing the very curse they tried to put on your life, where no matter how hard they work, the soil yields nothing but thorns. They wanted to see you locked out of your destiny, begging for a single drop of opportunity. Instead, they are the ones standing outside in the cold, pressing their faces against the glass, watching as the world moves on without them, watching as the doors of favor permanently close in their face. And this brings us to the core of their current silent plea for mercy. They will never admit it out loud. Their ego is far too brittle, far too calcified by years of pride to ever allow the words, "I was wrong" or "I am sorry" to cross their lips. But their soul is screaming for relief. Every time they accidentally see an update about your life, a glimpse of your genuine smile, a testament to your quiet success. A confirmation of the peace that surrounds you. It twists the knife deeper into their chest. They are pleading for mercy, not from you, but from the relentless, crushing weight of their own karma. They are begging the universe to turn the heat down, to stop the exposure, to give them just one day where they don't feel like they are constantly losing ground. They look back at the moment they decided to make you their enemy, and they are overwhelmed by a sickening wave of regret. If they had known who you truly were, if they had known the absolute ferocity of the divine protection that surrounds you, they would have never dared to cross your path. They would have bowed their heads and walked the other way. But arrogance blinded them, and now they must live out the rest of their days knowing that they threw themselves against a brick wall, thinking they were a wrecking ball, only to shatter into a million irreparable pieces. You, chosen one, are the living, breathing proof of their absolute failure. You did not just survive their attempts to break you, you utilized their malice as the raw material for your own metamorphosis. You took the bricks they threw at you and built a sanctuary. Every time they tried to bury you, they were simply planting a seed that has now grown into a towering oak tree, casting a long, cool shadow over the pathetic patch of dirt they are still trying to claim as their kingdom. You stand on the mountain peak, breathing the crisp, clean air of ultimate vindication, while they are choking on the toxic fumes of the fires they lit in the valley below. You do not need to look down to confirm their destruction. The sound of their collapse is loud enough to hear from the summit. They are entirely irrelevant to your future, existing only as a cautionary tale of what happens when a creature of darkness tries to extinguish a child of the light. They wanted you begging, completely at their mercy. Now they are the ones on their knees in the dark, pleading for a way out of the hell they built with their own two hands, fully realizing that the key to their salvation is held by the very person they tried to destroy. The illusion of their control was the very mechanism that ultimately engineered their destruction. You must look at the way they moved when they thought they held the upper hand. Chosen one, they operated with a sickening arrogance, a deep-seated delusion that they were the masters of your fate, capable of dictating the heights you could reach and the depths to which you would fall. They treated your life like a chessboard, moving pieces in the dark, confident that every calculated whisper, every locked door, and every withheld resource would perfectly corner you into submission. They did not just want to defeat you, they wanted to break your spirit so thoroughly that you would never dare to challenge their fabricated authority again. But what they failed to realize in their blind, ego-driven frenzy was that they were never playing a game with you. They were playing a game with the universe itself. And the universe does not lose. While they were busy setting traps, the divine was busy rewiring the entire energetic grid of their reality. They thought they had backed you into a corner where your only option was to beg, but they had actually backed themselves onto a precipice. The moment they pushed you, intending to watch you fall, the ground beneath their own feet gave way. They are now in a perpetual, agonizing freefall, desperately grasping at the empty air of their fading relevance, while you stand safely on the solid bedrock of your own authenticity, entirely untouched by their malice. As their freefall continues, the psychological toll of watching your unbothered ascent is breaking their minds in ways they never thought possible. They had convinced themselves and everyone around them that without their blessing, without their network, and without their approval, you would wither away into obscurity. They needed you to fail because your failure was the only thing that could validate their mediocre existence. But the exact opposite happened. The moment their toxic grip was severed from your life, your true frequency was finally allowed to resonate at its maximum capacity. You did not just survive their abandonment, you exploded into a season of unprecedented growth. And they have a front row seat to all of it. Every time they hear your name spoken with respect, every time they witness a new milestone you cross, and every time they see the undeniable radiant peace that now defines your aura, it acts as a physical blow to their fragile ego. They are forced to swallow the bitter, jagged pill that they were never the source of your light. They were only the shadow trying to block it. Your success is the absolute, undeniable proof of their impotence. They are realizing that their malice was not a weapon that could destroy you, but merely a catalyst that accelerated your evolution. The energy they spent trying to keep you down was the exact energy the universe harvested to launch you forward, leaving them entirely depleted and frantically searching for a way to rewrite a history that is already set in stone. This is the profound tragedy of the spotlight they tried to steal from you. For a very brief, pathetic moment in time, they believed they could siphon your natural magnetism and wear it as their own. They mimicked your grace, they parroted your ideas, and they tried to project the quiet confidence that flows so naturally from your spirit. But stolen light has an incredibly short shelf life. It is like a cheap, fluorescent bulb trying to compete with the sun. At first it might cast a bright glare, but it is cold, sterile, and ultimately drains the energy of the room. Your light, chosen one, is natural, nourishing, and self-sustaining. The more they tried to outshine you using artificial means, the faster their battery drained. They are now suffering from a catastrophic energetic burnout. The mask of superiority they wore is slipping because they simply do not have the spiritual stamina to keep it up. The people who once admired their false glow are now seeing the harsh, unflattering truth beneath the performance. They are witnessing the cracks in the veneer, the nervous tics of an imposter terrified of being found out. The spotlight they so desperately craved, the one they thought would blind you, has swung around and become an interrogation lamp, highlighting every single one of their insecurities, their lies, and their deep-seated inadequacies for the entire world to see. The social dynamics of their world have entirely inverted, creating a suffocating atmosphere of awkwardness wherever they go. They used to walk into a room expecting deference, expecting people to eagerly swallow whatever narrative they were selling that day. They used your supposed downfall as a conversation piece, a way to bond with other low-vibrational entities over a shared sense of artificial superiority. But the universe has dragged the truth into the blistering light of day, and the room has grown uncomfortably quiet. The people they once manipulated are no longer blindly nodding along. They are looking at this person with narrowed eyes, piecing together the timeline, and recognizing the staggering depth of the deception. When this person tries to tell a joke, it falls flat, hanging in the air like a lead weight. When they try to play the victim, they are met with blank stares and subtle shifts of body language that scream distrust. They have become a walking, breathing liability. The very alliances they thought would protect them are dissolving like sugar in boiling water. Everyone is quietly backing away, terrified that the karmic rot infecting this person will spread to them. They are being pushed out of the circles they once ruled, not by force, but by the undeniable silent consensus that they are fundamentally toxic. They are experiencing the terrifying reality of being entirely visible, yet completely unwanted. It is in this agonizing isolation that the true nature of their pleading begins to manifest. They are not begging with words, because their pride is still acting as a straitjacket, restricting them from genuine accountability. But their soul is on its knees, bleeding out in the dark, pleading for a suspension of the universal laws they so recklessly violated. They are begging for an end to the relentless anxiety that wakes them up at 3 in the morning. The crushing paranoia that everyone is finally seeing them for what they are. They look at the peace you carry, a peace that is unshakable, rooted in truth and divine alignment, and they are starving for it. They are parched for the clean, uncomplicated reality you inhabit, a reality where you do not have to remember a complex web of lies, where you do not have to constantly scan the room for threats, where you simply exist in a state of grace. They wanted you begging for their mercy, but they are now realizing that true mercy is the ability to sleep with a clear conscience, a luxury they can no longer afford. They are drowning in the consequences of their own actions, looking up through the distorted, murky water at your silhouette on the surface, realizing that the hand they tried to bite was the only hand that could have ever pulled them out. The reversal is so absolute, so flawlessly executed by the divine, that it requires no further participation from you. You have been completely removed from the equation of their punishment, elevated to a vantage point where their frantic scrambling looks small, distant, and entirely irrelevant to your destiny. You are no longer their victim, you are their consequence. Your mere existence, thriving and unbothered, is the daily sentence they must serve. They are trapped in a loop of their own regret, endlessly replaying the moment they decided to mistake your kindness for weakness, your silence for surrender, and your grace for gullibility. They wanted a war, and they got one, but they found themselves fighting against the unstoppable force of spiritual alignment. While armed with nothing but paper swords and brittle egos, they are pleading for the noise in their head to stop, pleading for the universe to look away, pleading for a mercy that cannot be granted until the debt is fully paid. And the debt they owe for trying to destroy a chosen one is monumental. To fully grasp the absolute devastation that has enveloped their reality, you must examine the specific weapons they tried to use against you, and how the universe systematically dismantled every single one of them. In their desperate initial campaign to bring you to your knees, they weaponized the one thing they thought they could control: public perception. They believed that if they poisoned the well of your reputation, if they polluted the minds of your peers with fabricated stories of your instability, your incompetence, and your supposed betrayals, you would eventually die of spiritual thirst. They thought that by turning the crowd against you, you would be forced to crawl back to them, begging for a drop of water, begging for them to clear your name. They orchestrated a whisper campaign, operating in the shadows, planting seeds of doubt in the ears of anyone who would listen. They painted themselves as the innocent victims or the concerned onlookers, while painting you as the villain of a story they entirely hallucinated. They thought they were the masterminds of a brilliant social execution, but they were violently ignorant of the cosmic law that governs the lives of the chosen. When you speak lies against a soul that is actively protected by the divine, those lies do not attach to the target. They act as a boomerang, gathering mass and velocity, before swinging back to shatter the jaw of the one who spoke them. This is exactly what is happening to them in this very moment. The smear campaign they so carefully constructed has triggered a catastrophic reverse effect. At first, the people they whispered to might have listened, entertained by the drama, captivated by the illusion of inside information. But as time passed, as your silence stretched out and your quiet elevation became undeniable, the audience began to notice a glaring inconsistency. They realized that the monster your enemy described did not match the masterpiece you were becoming. They started to hear not the words being spoken, but the frantic, bitter, vibrating frequency of pure envy beneath the gossip. The people they tried to turn against you suddenly realized they were being used as pawns in a pathetic vendetta. Your enemy's obsession with your downfall became the very thing that destroyed their own credibility. Every time they brought your name up, hoping to land another blow, they were inadvertently handing out shovels for people to dig into their own toxic history. The streets they thought they owned, the networks they thought they controlled, slowly transformed into a jury that quietly convicted them of fraud. The investigator they metaphorically or even literally sent into your life to find dirt returned with nothing but glowing reviews of your integrity. They wanted the world to demand your apology, but instead the world is now demanding their silence. As this realization sets in, their internal landscape is collapsing under the weight of what psychologists call imposter fatigue, but what the universe calls spiritual exhaustion. You see, chosen one, maintaining a lie of that magnitude requires an astronomical amount of dark energy. They have to constantly remember what they told to whom, constantly monitor the shifting loyalties of their peers, and constantly scan the horizon for the inevitable moment when the truth breaks through. They are living in a perpetual state of high-alert paranoia. They wanted to place you in a state of high anxiety, begging for a reprieve, but they have locked themselves in a psychological prison, where the walls are rapidly closing in. The energy they once had for creation, for living, for experiencing any semblance of joy, has been entirely consumed by the desperate need to maintain a crumbling facade. They are energetically bankrupt. When they wake up in the morning, they are not met with the peace of a clear conscience. They are met with the suffocating dread of an overdue invoice from the universe. They are running on the fumes of an ego that has been starved of its primary fuel, your reaction. Because you refuse to fight them in the mud, because you refused to defend yourself against their illusions, you denied them the friction they needed to keep their false realities spinning. Without your resistance, their entire operation stalled and crashed into the ground. You must visualize the profound irony of the trap they built for you. They spent months, perhaps years, digging a pit for you to fall into. They sharpened the stakes, they covered it with leaves, and they stood at the edge, waiting for the satisfying sound of your collapse. But you, guided by an intuition that they cannot even begin to comprehend, simply walked a different path. You ascended a completely different mountain, and now they are the ones who have stumbled backward into their own trap. They are impaled on the very stakes they sharpened for you. Every lie they told is a stake. Every betrayal they committed is a stake. Every moment they laughed at your pain is a stake. And they are bleeding out in the dark, looking up at the sky, realizing that the person they wanted to bury is the only one who is truly free. They are trapped in the consequences of their own malice, and there is no rescue party coming. The people they thought would save them are standing at the edge of the pit, shaking their heads, disgusted by the lengths to which they went to destroy an innocent soul. The isolation they tried to manufacture for you has become their permanent, inescapable zip code. They wanted you to be the outcast, begging to be let back into the fold, but they are the ones who have been cosmically exiled. This exile is not just social, it is deeply, profoundly spiritual. The universe has enacted a quarantine around their spirit. Because they chose to operate as an agent of chaos and destruction, the divine protection that allows a soul to weather the storms of life has been entirely revoked from them. They are now exposed to the raw, unfiltered elements of their own karma. When a minor inconvenience happens in their life, it feels like a catastrophe because they have no spiritual shock absorbers left. When a plan falls through, when a door closes, when a financial or emotional hit lands, they feel the absolute crushing weight of it, unmitigated by grace. They are experiencing a rapid, terrifying sequence of losses that they cannot explain or stop. And in the quiet, terrifying moments of their sleepless nights, they know exactly why this is happening. They know that this avalanche of misfortune is directly tied to the moment they decided to play God with your life. They know that they touched something sacred, something protected, and that the universe is aggressively balancing the scales. This is the source of the silent, agonizing pleading that echoes in their mind. They are begging the universe for a truce. They are pleading for the relentless stripping away of their comforts to stop. They are negotiating with the dark, promising to change, promising to be better, if only the cosmic hammer will stop falling on their life. But the universe does not negotiate with parasites, chosen one. It does not accept empty promises from an ego that is only sorry it got caught. The extraction of their unearned power is a meticulous, irreversible process. They thought they were a giant standing over you, casting a long, intimidating shadow. But the sun has risen to its highest peak, and the shadow has completely disappeared. The giant has been revealed as a small, terrified person standing on a fragile stool of lies, and the universe has just kicked the stool away. They are plummeting, and the wind rushing past their ears sounds exactly like the silence you gave them when they expected you to beg. Your unbothered existence is the ultimate punishment. You are thriving, glowing, and expanding in ways that make their entire existence feel utterly irrelevant. You are the living embodiment of the fact that darkness can never ever consume the light. It can only temporarily obscure it until the light burns hot enough to incinerate the veil. You have incinerated the veil. You have exposed the fraud, and you did it without ever stooping to their level. This is the final chapter of their illusion, chosen one, the absolute and irreversible closing of the cosmic scales. The gavel of the universe has struck, and the verdict is permanent. They spent all their energy trying to write a story where you were the casualty, the forgotten footnote, the one left begging in the dust of their fabricated greatness. But the universe took their pen, snapped it in half, and handed the book back to you. The trial is over. The evidence of your integrity has been weighed against the overwhelming mountain of their deception, and you have been entirely vindicated. You are no longer on the defense. You no longer have to wonder if the truth will ever see the light of day, because the truth is currently blinding them. The season of your suffering, that heavy, confusing period where it felt like their lies were winning, has officially expired. It is dead, and it is never coming back. What lies before you now is a wide open expanse of uninterrupted peace, a divine clearing where their toxic frequency can no longer reach you. They are permanently locked out of your timeline. They are trapped in the wreckage of their own ego, endlessly replaying the moment they realized that trying to break a chosen one only results in the breaking of the breaker. You are stepping into a golden era of your life. An era defined by the exact peace, abundance, and authentic power that they tried so desperately to steal from you. As you move forward, you must completely release any lingering doubt or residual guilt about leaving them behind. It is a common trait of the chosen to feel a pang of empathy, even for the very monsters who tried to consume them. Because your heart is pure, you might look at their current pathetic state, the way they are floundering, the way their circle has abandoned them, the way they are silently pleading for a mercy they don't deserve, and feel a brief urge to reach back and help. Do not do it. Do not reach into the fire to save the person who intentionally lit the match to burn your house down. Their suffering is not an accident. It is a meticulously designed spiritual curriculum. If you intervene, if you offer them the relief they are begging for, you are interrupting the lesson the universe is trying to teach them. They must sit in the ashes of their choices. They must feel the agonizing burn of their own irrelevance. Their ego must be starved entirely to death before their soul can ever hope to be reformed. Your absence is the most profound teacher they will ever have. Your silence is the mirror they cannot escape. Let them look at it until they finally see the truth of who they are. Your only responsibility now is to your own ascension. You owe them nothing but the dust from your shoes as you walk toward your ultimate destiny. And listen to me very closely, chosen one. If you can feel the absolute vibrating truth in these words, if your spirit is confirming right now that this message was sent directly to you, then do not let this moment pass without anchoring it. You have been brought to this realization for a reason. Support the alignment by simply hitting the like button and subscribing to this channel. This is not about vanity, numbers, or ego. This is about establishing a beacon. It is our shared responsibility to push this light out into the algorithm, to make sure it reaches the next chosen one who is currently sitting in the dark, doubting their sanity, and wondering if the narcissist in their life is actually going to win. By engaging with this message, you are throwing a lifeline to someone else who needs to hear that their vindication is coming. Drop the number 888 in the comments below to lock in your frequency of infinite abundance and ultimate justice. Let it be a digital monument that you survived the fire and came out glowing. And if this mission has touched your soul, if these words have given you the armor you needed, bless the team behind this message with a super thanks. Whether it is a small token or a large one, your energy fuels the continuation of this work. It takes massive spiritual stamina to consistently expose these dark entities and uplift the chosen, and your support keeps the sword sharp and the shield strong. You are not just an audience member, you are an active, vital part of a global awakening. Now look at the magnificent contrast of your realities. Look at the masterpiece the universe has painted using the colors of your resilience. They built their throne on smoke and mirrors, thinking that a loud voice and a cruel strategy could override the laws of karma. But a throne built on lies eventually becomes a prison. They are sitting in that prison right now, wearing a paper crown that is crumbling under the weight of their own anxiety. They wanted you begging for a place in their artificial kingdom, but instead, the universe has handed you the keys to a kingdom of your own, a kingdom built on rock, not sand. You have forged an identity that cannot be shaken by gossip, cannot be intimidated by isolation, and cannot be manipulated by fear. The grace you carry is undeniable. The quiet strength you radiate is the ultimate intimidation to anyone who lives a fake life. You are the living, breathing proof that light does not need to shout to be seen, and truth does not need a defense attorney to win the case. The truth simply stands still, completely unbothered, while the lies exhaust themselves trying to dance around it. The most beautiful part of this entire ordeal is that you did not just survive. You evolved into a version of yourself that is completely immune to their tactics. They unknowingly provided the resistance you needed to build your spiritual muscles. Every obstacle they threw in your path was a stepping stone that elevated you higher. Every time they tried to silence you, they were simply teaching you the profound power of not needing to speak. They tried to be your destruction, but they ended up being your catalyst. You have squeezed the wisdom out of the pain they caused, and you have left them with the bitter, empty rind. The people around you, the ones who truly matter, can see the change in you. They can feel the depth of your presence, the unshakable calm in your eyes, and the radiant magnetic pull of your authenticity. You have become a beacon of what it means to heal with dignity. You did not become bitter, you became better. You did not become cruel, you became untouchable. So take a deep breath, chosen one, and exhale the last remaining fragments of their toxic memory. Their chapter in your book is officially closed, and the ink is completely dry. You are walking into a season of explosive blessings, divine favor, and relentless peace. The tables have turned, the giants have fallen, and the ones who wanted you begging are now the ones pleading for the nightmare of their own consequences to end. But you do not have to watch their nightmare. You are awake. You are alive. You are free. Walk forward with your head held incredibly high, wrapped in the absolute certainty that the universe is not just on your side. It is actively paving the road ahead of you with gold. Keep shining your real, unfiltered light. Keep living your quiet, beautiful truth. And never ever forget the incredible power of the soul that lives inside of you. You are the chosen one, and you have already won. To the soul listening to this right now, close your eyes. Let the frantic noise of the world fall completely silent. Anchor yourself in this exact moment. Take a deep breath and receive this declaration. This is not for me. This is spoken directly over your life, your spirit, and your future. Divine Creator, Architect of Truth, and the ultimate keeper of the scales, I come before you in this sacred space to lift up the person hearing my voice right now. I ask that you surround this chosen one with a fortress of unyielding, untouchable, and blinding light. We recognize the profound, suffocating weight of the valley they have just walked through. We acknowledge the season where the people they loved, helped, and trusted tried to rewrite their destiny with a pen full of poison. We see the brutal betrayal, the sting of the sudden isolation, and the agonizing silence of a wilderness they never asked to enter. But more than that, we acknowledge the absolute, terrifying majesty of the divine protection that carried them through it. You did not leave this listener in the dark to be consumed. You placed them in the dark to be permanently transformed. Lord, I bring before you the enemies of their peace, the ones who stood in the shadows, crafting narratives of destruction, waiting with bated breath for this beautiful soul to fall. They built a stage of humiliation exclusively for the person listening to this. They expected tears. They expected a broken spirit. They wanted to see this chosen one begging for validation, pleading for a seat at a table that was secretly rotting from the inside out. They weaponized silence, they weaponized resources, and they weaponized their own fragile egos, mistakenly believing they held the gavel to this listener's future. But the defender of the authentic does not allow the chosen to be a footstool for pride. When the world demanded a frantic reaction, the divine gifted the person listening to this the devastating, unshakable power of silence. You taught them how to stand still while the storm raged, fully knowing that the storm was not sent to wash them away, but to wash away the toxic entities that had attached themselves to their life. I pray and declare over the soul hearing these words that every tear they shed in private, every moment of terrifying self-doubt they endured, and every night they spent questioning their own sanity, is right now being converted into a massive tidal wave of public vindication. The tables have not just turned, they have been completely obliterated by the hand of divine justice. The ones who meticulously dug a pit for this listener have stumbled backward into it. May the exposure of those who operated in deceit against them be absolute, thorough, and undeniable, not for the sake of petty human revenge, but for the necessary restoration of universal order. Let the artificial light of their oppressors burn out completely, exposing the hollow, terrified, and depleted reality underneath those masks. While the enemy scrambles to maintain a crumbling facade, grasping for the very mercy they ruthlessly denied this chosen one, I declare that the person listening to this will stand completely unbothered, observing this cosmic rebalancing from the summit of supreme grace. I speak a supernatural, undeniable anointing over every single endeavor the hands of this listener touch from this day forward. May explosive, undeniable life be breathed into the visions they are building. Whatever dreams they have kept hidden, whatever purpose they have been too exhausted to pursue, reignite that fire right now. Let their work, their voice, and their presence carry an electric, captivating frequency that commands respect and opens doors that no human hand can shut. Let their unique frequency break violently through the noise of a crowded, imitation-heavy world, standing as a towering monument to what happens when pure, unadulterated authenticity refuses to be silenced. And now, we address the energetic cord of the past. I declare that any remaining trauma bonds, any lingering emotional ties between the person listening and the ones who wished for their downfall, are permanently severed. The enemy is now starving for the peace they tried to steal. They are choking on the silence they thought would break this listener's spirit. As those toxic individuals plead for mercy in the dark corners of their collapsing reality, may the person hearing this be given the profound strength to leave them entirely to their karma. May this chosen one be gifted with boundaries of steel, required to never look back, and to never reach into the fire to save the ones who intentionally lit the match. Let the suffering of the wicked be their own teacher. I pray that any lingering guilt this listener feels for outgrowing those who wanted to keep them small is completely ripped from their heart. Release them from the heavy burden of anger, for they do not need to fight a war that has already been fought and won on their behalf. The invoice has been sent, the debt has been collected, and the person hearing my voice is officially discharged from the courtroom of public opinion. May their newfound peace be protected with a jealousy that rivals the stars. Now that the giants in their life have been made small, now that the mighty have fallen into the dust of their own making, I cast out any ghost of anxiety or shadow of past trauma from the mind of this listener. The residue of the betrayers is washed away. Let the sting of the knives in their back be forgotten. replaced only by the awe-inspiring memory of the impenetrable armor you provided them. They will look upon their history not as a series of victimizations, but as an elite, divine training ground that perfectly prepared them for the massive weight of the glory that is about to drop into their life. I pray that a completely new circle of profound, genuine, and high vibrational alignments is magnetically drawn into the orbit of the person listening. May the counterfeit friends, the energy vampires, and the covert competitors be replaced with solid, unwavering allies. May collaborators, supporters, and visionaries come to them, not to siphon their light, but to multiply it. Surround this chosen one with people who are not intimidated by their brilliance, their ambition, or their deep spiritual grounding, but who are deeply inspired by it. A true tribe is coming to you. They will sit at your table and celebrate your harvest without a single ounce of envy, knowing that the soil was tilled in your silent tears. But the reaping is meant to be bathed in collective radiant joy. I boldly declare that the season of being misunderstood, overlooked, and underestimated is permanently, irreversibly over for the soul hearing this. The false narratives have been corrected by the sheer, undeniable force of reality. The universe has spoken, and its voice is echoing across every domain of this listener's life. The joke that the enemy thought they were telling has become the bitter tragedy of their own existence, while the life of the person listening has transformed into a masterclass of grace and resilience. I call forth overflowing, incomprehensible abundance into their life, financial, emotional, spiritual, and relational. Let the doors that were maliciously locked by insecure gatekeepers be blown entirely off their hinges by the rushing wind of favor. Let the resources, the opportunities, and the recognition that were wrongfully withheld from them be returned right now with sevenfold interest. Finally, I speak a blessing of deep, restorative, and unshakable rest over the person listening to my voice. May you sleep tonight with the absolute, physical certainty that you are defended, loved, protected, and chosen by the Creator of all things. Let the anxious noise of the world fade into a gentle hum, replaced by the steady heartbeat of divine alignment. May you wake up tomorrow with a fresh fire in your bones, a clear vision in your mind, and a readiness to step into a reality that is infinitely greater, brighter, and more powerful than the one you left behind. The stage is yours. The spotlight is finally real. The foundation is unshakable. This new era, this golden chapter of absolute vindication and triumph for the soul listening to this, is sealed right now in the powerful, matchless name of ultimate truth and divine justice. Amen.